bit warmer with a high of 33, west winds 15 to 30. From the Storm
Hey,
Center at Kib
good
11.
morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's great to have you along.
Our business is news, and business
I just
is
about
good.
forgot about you.
Kello, News Talk 1320.
Okay, here we go.
107.9 and Kello.com. The Doctor of Discernment.
I had
is
it all
on the
set
air.
up,
I love the
then I
Greg Belfrage Show.
was like, oh, I gotta
years,
hit
Greg.
start.
Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sound a little taller on radio.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show, Wednesday, February 5th. Big stories this morning. Oh, I got everything out of order. Got everything out of order. Oh, I think I just played things here in the... Oh, so much for the big open. Okay. Donald Trump talking about the United States taking over the Gaza Strip and rebuilding it to stabilize the Middle East. So he said that Palestinians in Gaza who are displaced could be permanently resettled outside of the territory, and then he's proposing the U.S. take ownership of it. And there are a lot of questions regarding this and Trump even admitted that himself, as to whether or not the United States would be able to do this. Secretary of State Marco Rubio talking about it. But what Donald Trump does is he starts the conversation. So we have Benjamin Netanyahu is in Washington meeting with the first foreign leader to meet with Donald Trump. So Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House, and they talked about the ceasefire, the hostage deal. And so Trump said, I don't think people should be going back. You can't live in Gaza right now. I think we need another location. I think it should be a location that's going to make people happy. So he said the U.S. would take ownership of the Gaza Strip, redevelop it. After then Palestinians are resettled elsewhere, and turn the territory into the Riviera of the Middle East, is what he called it. And he said that the world's people and the Palestinians will love it. Trump said, we'll make sure that it's done world class. It'll be wonderful for the people, Palestinians mostly we're talking about. So there is, there's a lot of reaction to this. This is just a huge story this morning. Trump saying the Palestinians have no alternative but to leave the big pile of rubble that is Gaza. And his aides are saying that this is a 3 to 5 year timeline for reconstruction of this entire area. Trump said he believes Egypt and Jordan, as well as other countries, would ultimately agree to take in Palestinians. He said and some of them are not necessarily eager to do so. I mean, there are a lot of conversations here. But what Donald Trump does, I think, is he begins the conversation. And you had Netanyahu saying that yesterday. Trump said, you look over the decades, it's all death in Gaza. This has been happening for years. It's all death. If we can get a beautiful area to resettle people permanently in nice homes where they can be happy and not be shot, not be killed, and not be knifed to death, like what is happening in Gaza, he said. So he's talking about it. And again, this is... Keep in mind, there's a lot of negative reaction to this. It's beginning a conversation that I think is going to be difficult. So this is a big story. the Trump doing what he does best, starting conversations. So Benjamin Netanyahu praised Trump's leadership in getting the hostages and the ceasefire deal. He's praising Trump. He's praising Trump, not Joe Biden. This happened on Joe Biden's watch, but it was Donald Trump who was instrumental in getting it done. And we heard that yesterday again from Benjamin Netanyahu. So this is Netanyahu's first travel outside of Israel since the International Criminal Court had issued arrest warrants back for him back in November, which is a Netanyahu has been very, very critical about that. And when you see what happens with the International Court, not surprising. So Trump talking about taking over the Gaza Strip. And we will do a job with it too, he said. This was last evening. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site. Level the site, get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job. Do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years. So he is, which is a great point. You are talking about decades of generations of strife coming out of the Middle East. So he's proposing this, and he sees this as the United States bringing stability to the United States, or to the Middle East. What Trump is saying. And I don't know. I look around the United States, and I think sometimes I'm not confident that we have a lot of stability here. When you look at what some people are saying, we'll get to that in Looney Tunes in the news coming up this morning. But Trump said now he's been talking to other leaders in the region about this. So they have had conversations. He is not, this is just not off the top of his head, and he hasn't talked to anybody. He's not just spitballing. He has had this conversation with leaders in the region. And Trump said, everybody I've spoken to, this was not a decision made lightly. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent in a really magnificent area that nobody would know. Nobody can look because all they see is death and destruction and rubble. So Netanyahu was asked about this, and he said he has 3 goals, one of which is to make sure that Gaza never poses a threat to Israel again. And he said President Trump is taking it to a much higher level. He said he sees a different future for that piece of land that has been the focus of so much terrorism, so many attacks against us, so many trials, and so many tribulations. He has a different idea, and I think it's worth paying attention to this. What Netanyahu is saying. And he also said, and I'm paraphrasing this, but you may have heard this earlier this morning on America in the Morning, Netanyahu saying, somebody comes up with a proposal like this, and there is that immediate kind of gut level reaction, and then you stop and you think about it, and you go, yeah, why can't we do this, right? Why can't we do this? So whether it's practical or not, or possible or legal, I think those are things that that we will find out as the conversation continues. But, I'm looking at this once again as Donald Trump doing what Donald Trump does best. Start the conversation. Starting a conversation, have with out of the box thinking that nobody else would ever have come up with this. I mean, I don't think anybody would have, or we would have heard it before now, right? So that's a big story this morning, both at FoxNews.com and the New York Post. Their headline this morning, Gaza have it. Trump says U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip after relocating all Palestinians. So that is a big story this morning. Also, Donald Trump is going to be at the Super Bowl coming up this weekend. First time ever that a sitting president will attend the Super Bowl. And what is the Super? I did those the Roman numerals. Can we get them to lose the Roman numerals? I mean, I don't even remember what it is, and seeing it actually printed out in numbers. Good luck finding stories with it printed out in numbers. You just so Trump will be the first sitting president to attend the game, according to the New York Post. So Trump is going to be there, and we'll talk about that coming up this morning. And I want to get your reaction regarding this. I'm curious on a number of different fronts. Do you think Trump's presence at the Super Bowl is going to increase viewership? One of the reasons I asked that, would you be more likely to tune in if Donald Trump's going to be there? And then, now again, it's not his event, but, what will we see? There may be people who would who will tune in, who wouldn't otherwise watch the Super Bowl, I think. So we'll talk about that this morning. What do you think about sitting presidents attending major sporting events like the Super Bowl? So we'll touch on that with you coming up this morning. Get your phone calls coming up after 7. And then you've got thing you've got to understand about the sports media. I mean, as divided as much of America is, the sports media generally speaking is way over on the left. And so they're wigging out about this. Donald Trump's going to be soiling the Super Bowl. And it's like, man, these guys are a broken record, man. I mean, it's just hearing that every day. Man, can you imagine being married to that? Whoa, wow, man, you would just be. Oh. Okay, other big stories this morning. Let's talk about Pam Bondi. She has been confirmed as U.S. Attorney General. She was confirmed by the Senate last night on a vote of 54 to 46. So Trump's nominees have all passed their Senate confirmation process. Tulsi Gabbard was advanced out of committee yesterday. Kash Patel for FBI, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., still awaiting votes. I think Kennedy also making it out of committee. I've got some stories that are trending on that I don't have right in front of me at the moment, but I'll touch on that coming up with you here in the next half hour. That's a big story this morning. Also, we've got 20,000 federal employees are agreeing to Donald Trump's buyout offer. More than 20,000 federal workers, according to Straight Arrow News, say they will accept the Trump administration's buyout offer. It's the resignation program, allows employees to stop working but continue receiving pay and benefits through September. More than 20,000 federal workers, approximately, there are 2 million workers who are eligible, and they need to accept by tomorrow. If they want to take the deal, they've got to accept by tomorrow. So the White House had expected up to 10% to accept. At this point, 20,000 have done that. You've also got the CIA offering buyouts to the entire workforce. So employees who would take the deal would receive 8 months of pay and benefits. And again, the reason for the buyouts is you're trying to bring these agencies in line with the administration and what they would like to do. So we will, it's pretty incredible. So the Wall Street Journal said that the move is to bring the agency in line with Trump's priorities, including targeting drug cartels. So 2 million other government employees were offered similar deals. Those with national security roles were not offered the buyout. So also there was an email sent to staffers, and we've talked about this previously, said that employees must return to work in the office or resign, and workers have until tomorrow to make that decision. John Ratcliffe, who's the director of the CIA now, had said during his confirmation hearing, he said to the brave CIA officers listening around the world, if all of that sounds like what you signed up for, then buckle up and get ready to make a difference. If it doesn't, then it's time to find a new line of work. Yeah, absolutely. It's true of a number of people. Also, this morning, we will talk about the Gaza Strip coming up and Donald Trump's plan for that. We will also get to that this morning. We've got Jim Olander who will join us at 8, as he normally does. And there's a really nice piece, actually, on Jim Olander at ushl.com. So Jim will visit us coming up later this morning. And then we will talk about Donald Trump's Gaza Strip deal. So that'll be later in the program this morning. Other big stories this morning, Elon Musk teasing a Doge audit of the IRS. So he had asked his followers on X if Doge should audit the IRS, and they overwhelmingly said yes. So there's there was some confusion on Monday when Trump said he would shut down the government agency that runs the IRS direct file service. And you had folks who were saying things that were just weren't true in terms of you can still direct file through the IRS. That has not been affected. Also, the White House, and I'm receiving the news releases that the White House is sending out. And one of them yesterday slammed the hoax machine of the mainstream media. So they're, rather than calling it the state media as I do, they're calling it the hoax machine of the media. And they're rebutting then fake news and what is being out there. There was an assertion by Representative Eric Swalwell of California that said the Trump administration took away the ability to file taxes for free. This is what I was just mentioning. And the press office said that's an easily debunked lie. The official IRS direct file website is still online. accepting tax returns. It's such an egregious lie. Even the Associated Press admits the free filing program is still available, and this just goes on. I mean, the heads of Democrats are just exploding right now. It's pretty amazing as you watch this. Also, as we look ahead to the Super Bowl, quarterbacks Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts preparing for their Super Bowl rematch. Mahomes has a 17-3 record, leading the Chiefs in the postseason. Hurts has led the Eagles to wins in 15 of their last 16 games this season. So preparations are about to begin for the Super Bowl showdown. And as I mentioned, Donald Trump saying that he is going to be there first time as sitting president. Sitting president has done so. And then I saw just a headline that just made me laugh out loud. Steven Cruiser over at PJ Media. The morning briefing. Trump 47. Come for the freedom, stay for the Democrats' exploding heads. And that's a look at today's big stories. It's great to have you along. 727. Partly cloudy and 8. It feels like 3 below at Kello.
Weeknights 5 to 8. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, the Give You More Tire and Automotive Store.
At Avera Orthopedics, we're transforming pain into possibility every day. Whether you're chasing a personal best,
Got to return this stuff to where I can find it when I need it.
Specialized care is designed to help you feel better and stronger. We're here for you. No referral needed. Trust Avera Orthopedics to unlock a world of endless possibilities. Visit Avera.org.
I think I mentioned it before, but it would be nice to have somebody who was just here that I could hand stuff off, and then they could keep it all, and then I could tell them, okay, I need.
At Bank Midwest, we've added more benefits to our basic business. And
That's a pipe dream, but
benefits to help you fight fraud and
All
be
right.
more efficient. And these benefits are free. We're here to help local companies be more successful. So we're even offering a cash bonus when you open your account. If getting some extra cash and extra fraud protection matches your goals, come see us. Bank Midwest, member FDIC.
When disaster strikes, the food supply is the first domino to fall. It can start quietly, an emergency alert, a breaking news headline. But within hours, reality sets in. People rush to grocery stores, emptying shelves of everything from bread to canned goods. Lines stretch out the door, tempers flare, and desperation takes hold.
Excuse
No
me.
matter who's in charge these days, you simply can't rely on the government to bail you out. That's why having an emergency food supply on hand is the right move for you and your family. Right now, you can get $50 off a 4-week emergency food kit at MyPatriotSupply.com. They're an American company trusted by millions, offering 2,000 calories per day with essential vitamins and minerals. Keep you strong during a crisis. This food will be there for you when you need it, since it lasts up to 25 years and can ship out to you next day. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com now to get $50 off your 4-week emergency food kit. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
Weather brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Mostly cloudy skies today, and there is a chance of a light wintry mix across the region, but the precipitation amounts will stay on the light side. Our high today near 30, southeast winds at 15 to 30. For tonight, low temperature at 10 above with a northwest wind, and tomorrow will rebound to 33. Mostly sunny skies and a west breeze. From the Storm Center at Timberland TV, I'm Brian Carson.
And in Sioux Falls at 6:30, partly cloudy and 8. It feels like 3 below. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center this morning. A man is arrested after allegedly stabbing his ex-girlfriend to death here in Sioux Falls. Kind of shocking. House members in Pierre rejected constitutional convention legislation yesterday. Hey, we've got to talk about that tomorrow. I'll do some homework today. Also, a Rapid City man behind bars accused of making threatening phone calls to Governor Larry Roden. Wow, what is all that about? So we'll get you the details coming up here shortly. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
I think that Gaza maybe is a demolition site right now.
After meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House, President Trump said the United States should take over and rebuild the Gaza Strip, suggesting the Palestinians there move somewhere else.
I think it should be a location that's going to make people happy.
Arab leaders for years have rejected the idea of taking in large numbers of Palestinians, saying they should have their own land. Now, at least 11 people dead, including the gunman in Sweden's worst ever mass shooting yesterday at an adult education center.
Police say there was so much carnage, it was hard at first to figure out how many people had died. The detectives still don't know what prompted the attack. Justice Minister Gunnar Stromer called the shooting an event that shakes our entire society to its core.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Disney's reporting higher earnings than expected. Google's parent company Alphabet lower than expected revenue. America's listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. A man is arrested after allegedly stabbing his ex-girlfriend to death. Sioux Falls police say 24-year-old Tyson Christians has been charged with first-degree murder after officers discovered the body of 23-year-old Emily Ehrenberg near the Empire Mall on Monday. Authorities say Christians got into Emily's car while she was at work, waited for her, then later attacked her with a pocket knife while they were talking inside the car. Christians is reported to already have an extensive criminal history, including assault, robbery, hit and run, and DWI. House members in Pierre rejected constitutional convention legislation yesterday. Representatives voted 29-38 against the Senate joint resolution after a debate over federal spending limits and states' rights. It would have applied to Congress for a convention to propose constitutional amendments on federal fiscal restraints, limiting federal power and congressional term limits. Here's Representative Leslie Heineman, who supports the resolution.
It's time for us to use Article 5 power. We either be remembered as the generation that finally succumbed to federal tyranny, or the generation who stood and defended the torch of liberty when it was flickering dangerously low.
Opponent Representative Steve Duffy says their focus should be on South Dakota issues.
If this is opened up, you might think that we could keep it in the rails. Look at our own body. We've done a lot of things, so I don't believe at all that we can stop this.
The measure
because you're uninformed.
Convention and 38 states to ratify any amendments. A Rapid City man is behind bars accused of making threatening phone calls to Governor Larry Roden. Authorities say 28-year-old Hudson Wheeler was arrested Monday, charged with a felony count of threatening a state official. Wheeler could face up to a decade in prison if convicted. And it was a close call yesterday during the second day of demolition of the historic Turner County Courthouse in Parker. An emergency rescue had to be made yesterday morning when an excavator tipped over, trapping the operator inside. The man eventually made it out unharmed. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9. Pockets of light snow and a light wintry mix a possibility, especially as we head through the early afternoon. Our high today near 30, southeast winds +3 at 15 to 30 miles per hour. Tonight's low temperature at 10 above with a partly cloudy sky. Tomorrow, a little bit warmer with a high of 33, west winds 15 to 30. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm Brian Carstens.
If it matters to you, you'll hear it on Kello. All day, every day. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Communist China's AI chatbot called DeepSeek shocked American counterparts. Not only is DeepSeek better, it's faster and cheaper. Not so quick, says OpenAI. They just released a better model. But the real news is something called deep research. I'm Ken Commando for NetSuite. Get the CFO's Guide to Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning for free at netsuite.com/Ken. Deep research is a supercharged AI system that pulls data from multiple sources and compiles a full report in 10 to 30 minutes. No more scrolling through endless articles. How can you use it? Need a market analysis, competitor breakdown, or the latest industry trends? Ask away. Or maybe you need to know about new medical studies or clinical trials. It's like having a research assistant who never sleeps. Just pay for the $20 monthly Pro plan, select Deep Research and ChatGPT, and let it work. Remember, AI makes things up, so be sure to fact check before making any major decisions. Be tech ahead with my free newsletter at getkim.com. What does the future hold for business? Ask 9 experts and you'll get 10 answers. Rates rising or falling, inflation being up or down. Can someone please invent a crystal ball? Until then, over 41,000 businesses have future-proofed their business with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud ERP, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all into one fluid platform. With one unified business management suite, there's one source of truth, giving you the visibility and control you need to make quick decisions. With real-time insights and forecasting, you're peering into the future with actionable data. When you're closing the books in days, not weeks, you're spending less time looking backward and more time on what's next. And speaking of opportunity, you can now download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Kim. The guide is free for you at netsuite.com/Kim. That's netsuite.com/Kim. netsuite.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, with 2 locations to make sure you have the proper traction this winter.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Andersen picture and combination windows. Optimizing a beautiful view and light in the bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today.
Let's ABC Seamless. The Sioux Falls Housing and Redevelopment Commission and their nonprofit partner, Affordable Housing Solutions, are empowering people, building futures. They connect you with safe, affordable housing programs, work with community partners to improve living situations, and develop housing options in our communities.
You know, this country was founded on freedom from a country that forced us to buy overpriced tea and tried blockading us, and then we dumped their tea into the ocean. How'd that work out? Well, it's time to throw out your overpriced big wireless contract, and you won't sacrifice service thanks to my cell phone provider, Pure Talk. Now, my cell phone company says no to inflated prices. And with a qualifying plan of just $45 a month, you can get an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for nothing. And yes, this is for premium service. You get unlimited talk and text and 25 gigs of data and mobile hotspot at a fraction of the price of those big guys. Get your iPhone 14 or Samsung Galaxy for $0 by dialing pound 250 and saying the keyword Pure Talk, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team are going to help you make the switch. You dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk, and claim your new iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk, which is America's wireless company.
Winter in South Dakota is one big question mark.
What's it gonna be like today?
How bad are the roads?
Will I be able to wrestle my kid into those snow pants?
Get most of the answers you want with up-to-the-minute forecasts and the latest road conditions on Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
638, partly cloudy skies and 8. It feels like 13 below. Well, Sioux Falls Stampede are in action coming up this weekend, and it's Wiener Dog Night. There'll be the Fighting Wiener Dogs on Saturday night, and we have got $5 ticket links up right now for you at Kello.com. Get them while they last. So if you want to take advantage of the $5 tickets, and once they're gone, they're gone. So if you want to take advantage of the $5 tickets, go to KELO.com. A lot of you are still confusing us with KELOLand.com. That's TV. That's a separate company. KELO.com is our website. So go to KELO.com and go down to our quick links, and you'll see the $5 links right at the top of our quick links to get the reduced tickets for this Saturday night's game. The Sioux Falls Fighting Wiener Dogs will be playing again coming up this Saturday night. It's a lot of fun, and we'll talk about that in more detail with Jim Olander of the Sioux Falls Stampede. He will join us this morning, coming up just after 8.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Trending stories this morning. Donald Trump suggesting the U.S. take long-term ownership of the Gaza Strip. Trump said, So this comes as Israel and Hamas then are trying to hold together their ceasefire deal after more than a year that they have been fighting. So this is the latest then of several pushes that Donald Trump has made to incorporate international land into the United States. He also did not rule out a U.S. military presence in Gaza. And he did not offer an option for Palestinians who wish to stay in. He said they have no alternative but to leave the Gaza Strip. And and we'll see what happens. We'll see how this deal unfolds. So Donald Trump, this was a joint news conference that Donald Trump held yesterday with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And Trump said that Palestinians in Gaza should not go through a process of rebuilding and that they had lived a miserable existence there. And he said he would like to see them, and he encouraged them to resettle permanently in nice homes somewhere else. So Trump saying the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site, get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job. Do something different, Trump said. Also, Donald Trump yesterday restoring his maximum pressure campaign on Iran. And this includes efforts to drive their oil exports down to zero. Also trying to stop Tehran from being able to obtain a nuclear weapon. And this was prior to Trump's meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. Trump signed a presidential memorandum, them reimposing Washington's policy on Iran, and it's tough. And he did this throughout his first term when he was president. And Trump described it as very tough, and he said he was torn about it, on whether to make the move. He said he was open to a deal with Iran. Of course, Trump's a deal maker. He's open to a deal with Iran, expressed his willingness to talk to them. But he boiled it down to this. He said, with me, it's very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And so he was asked, well, how close are they? And he said, they're too close. So Iran has yet to respond to this. I expect that they will, at least as of the printing of that story. Also, Donald Trump, in signing the order, and you get some outlets who are focusing on Trump's campaign or Trump's comments regarding Iran, because you and I know, Americans know, it's been reported that Iran has had contracts out on Donald Trump. They want to kill Donald Trump. And Trump said that if they tried something like that, he said, if they did that, they would be obliterated. I have left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And he also slammed Joe Biden for failing to issue the same kind of warning. Trump said, and Biden should have said that, but he never did. I don't know why. Lack of intelligence, perhaps. But he never said it. I don't know if he's talking about Joe Biden's intelligence or he's talking about national actual intelligence. Also, Donald Trump set to attend the Super Bowl between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. And we will talk about that coming up this morning after 7. We'll take your calls on this a little over a half hour from now. Trump, he's expected to be the first president in attendance at the Super Bowl. And this story from Daily Mail says it will likely set up a battle in the stands at the Superdome for television airtime between Trump and Taylor Swift, who is expected to be there. I'm curious, are you more likely to watch the Super Bowl now because Donald Trump is going? We'll talk about that coming up after 7. All right, other stories trending this morning. Post-millennial Pam Bondi confirmed as U.S. Attorney General yesterday. So she now is been confirmed with a vote of 54 to 46. So let's take a look at some of Donald Trump's other nominees. The Senate Intelligence Committee yesterday voted to advance the nomination for Tulsi Gabbard to become the Director of National Intelligence. So that now is headed for a final floor vote, getting out of committee, according to justthenews.com. NBC News is reporting that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. cleared a hurdle yesterday after, again, the Senate Finance Committee voted to advance his nomination to the full chamber. So now RFK Jr.'s nomination to be Health Secretary will go to the full Senate. This was a 14 to 13 vote, right along party lines, and it pushed through Kennedy's nomination after Senator Bill Cassidy, who's a Republican from Louisiana, voted in favor of advancing Kennedy's nomination to the full Senate. So he's also moving forward. Also, the Senate voted yesterday to confirm Doug Collins as Secretary of the Department of Veterans Affairs. He's promised to cut red tape, get veterans the health care that they need. Also, Donald Trump's Secretary of Energy received bipartisan support from members of the Senate to lead the Department of Energy. And he will be delivering on Donald Trump's drill baby drill agenda. This is just an intriguing story. You had the president of El Salvador on Monday night offered to incarcerate the illegal aliens that are in the United States for a relatively low fee. And then he went a little bit further. He said, we are willing to take in only convicted criminals. And so now he's talking about those who are U.S. citizens and have been convicted of crimes. And he said, we are willing to take in convicted criminals, including convicted U.S. citizens, into our mega prison in exchange for a fee. And I think this is the one, as I was talking earlier about Trump and the Gaza Strip and so on. Secretary of State Marco Rubio reacting to this, and this is the story I think that both Trump and Rubio said, you got to, we'll have to look into it as to whether or not that was possible. But Trump basically said, oh yeah, we would do that. The United States would do this in a heartbeat if you could farm out some of the, now again, so we're not just talking about illegals then who have been captured and sending them to El Salvador. We are talking about American citizens who are, been convicted. We're not talking about those who are in for check kiting or drug abuse. I mean, you're talking about those who are convicted of serious felony crimes, life sentences. How would you feel about them being housed in a prison in El Salvador? And they can do it a lot less expensively than you could in the United States. I think you and I may wind up talking about that at some point, but that's a big story. Also, China hitting back at Donald Trump with new tariffs on U.S. products. This came minutes after the U.S. tariff took effect yesterday. And so China is moving ahead then with tariffs of their own. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. Also, the first migrant flights to Guantanamo Bay deported yesterday. And this is according to two U.S. officials who had been saying that yesterday were the slated to be the first flights of illegals to Guantanamo Bay. Also, President Trump was asked yesterday about the news that former President Joe Biden going to Hollywood. He signed with the Creative Artists Agency, which is a mega talent and sports agency. So now they have signed Joe Biden, and Donald Trump was asked about this, and Trump said, "You got to be kidding." He signed on with a talent agency, he said. I think he's got bigger problems than that. I really do. I think he's got much bigger problems than that, but I wish him well. And then he said, "We inherited a mess. This place is a mess, but it's quickly being solved. We're going to make America great again." Also, Washington, D.C. officials released updates about the investigation into the January 29th Potomac River midair collision, detailing what bodies and debris have been removed from the water. In fact, there were 42 remains from the Potomac that were recovered, 42 sets of remains from the crash area. Again, some of this is dated, so be mindful of that. There were 67 people that died in the incident. And I've been a little bit surprised there hasn't been more coverage. Also, Donald Trump hosted the winners of the Stanley Cup, the Florida Panthers, at the White House. And that story is trending. And you know what I love? Did you see the photos of this? Photos. Here's Donald Trump standing with them all, and they're all wearing same thing as Trump, black suits, red ties. Oh, yeah, gotta love that. And that was just also actor Jesse Eisenberg said he has zero interest in being associated with Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg. So Eisenberg played Mark Zuckerberg in The Social Network and landed Eisenberg his first Oscar nomination. And so during an interview with BBC Radio yesterday, he said of Zuckerberg, he said, "I haven't been following his life trajectory, partly because I don't want to think of myself as associated with somebody like that." Wow. He said, "It's not like I played a great golfer or something, and now I want people to think I'm a great golfer. It's like this guy, he's doing things that are problematic, taking away fact checking and safety concerns. So he has zero interest in being associated with Mark Zuckerberg." This is a sad story. Mother of Tiger Woods has passed away. Clotilda Woods. And she has died at the age of 80. And he released a heartfelt statement paying tribute to his mother. He called her a force of nature and said that his mom had played a pivotal role in his success. It's always sad when you see stories like that. Also, men in 2 states being accused of impersonating ICE officers. South Carolina man, police say he was seen in a disturbing video confronting a Latino man in a pickup truck, telling him he was going to be sent back to Mexico. Well, he's been arrested on charges that include impersonating an ICE officer. There was a similar case the next day at Temple University when a 22-year-old man and 2 other people accused of falsely identifying themselves as ICE agents. And this is just, and so the national president of the League of United Latin American Citizens said, I think this is just the beginning unless we object to it, unless we bring this out, have other folks see how this gentleman here will be prosecuted. Totally agree. That kind of stuff is just absolute nonsense. Also trending this morning, Waffle House has announced it's adding a 50-cent surcharge on all egg items sold at their 2,000 locations because of soaring egg prices caused by the bird flu. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Bill's News Gallery. 6:57, partly cloudy and 8. It feels like 3 below at Kello.
World comes at you pretty fast. We'll help you make sense of it all. Kello.
Thank you, my friend, for starting your day here. I really appreciate it. Hope you'll be back for the 4th hour, whether it's live or whether you watch it at your convenience. That'll be coming up also later today on YouTube. So I'll see you then. Take care.
Like Mark, I'm even Evan from Marv's Body Shop. This is Mad Mark. I'm mad at winter. If you